So that was a beautiful story, so eloquently told by the person that was just talking, because my sister and I just became guardians for my own brother who's in a long-term care facility and had the horrific hell experience of Alberta Hospital also. And we are fighting now to try and get him off of these psychotropic drugs, these antipsychotics that are destroying his brain, like actually shrinking his brain. And all the horrific side effects, the adverse effects that he has to, it's required that you take more medication to reduce and minimize some of the other adverse effects of the psychotropic drugs. So it's a horrible story. It's unconscionable, like many of the other stories here. However, I'm going to tell a different story. And this story comes to me from someone in southern Alberta. And it's not my story, but I am going to tell it in the first person point of view. And like many of others have shared here, the Power of Attorney Act is actually a license to steal. I think we all can agree with that. Our family became aware that our mom was becoming frail, and our sister Jamie assumed power of attorney and personal directive. Because Jamie's husband was an accountant, this seemed like a really good fit. There was a large estate of several $1 million also, and we were pleased that Mom's family affairs would be properly looked after. However, after some time, the family became aware that Jamie was driving a new Chrysler car. She had gone to Mexico for a holiday with her husband, and she had quit her job. So they appeared to be living the high life. We asked Jamie for an accounting as to the estate, but she refused to give that to us. We went to visit Mom, and she would say that she had no money, just a little bit of money just to buy just some small things for the grandchildren. And we really were helpless to intervene there. After some time, Jamie and her husband began isolating our mom from us and didn't allow us to visit her. There was nothing we could do about it. Furthermore, it was difficult to believe that this was all happening. Because of concerns of how, can you hear me? I know.
The mic stopped working.
The mic stops working. So because of the concerns of how the estate was being spent, one of my siblings, my brother, made an application for the court for an accounting according to Section 10 of the Powers of Attorney Act. Now, Section 10.1 says that an application may be made to the court for an order directing an attorney to bring in and pass accounts in respect of any or all transactions entered into in pursuance of the enduring power of attorney. However, the Honorable Justice did not grant him the application, but instead reprimanded him for not going to see Mom. So it was obvious that the Honorable Justice had not even read the sworn affidavit. Then to add insult to injury, she ordered my brother to pay $90,000 in court costs. So for 5 more years, this continued on, and we, the siblings, were denied visitation with our mom. It's not my story, but it could be my future story. It could be, it's the story of so many across Alberta. And so it's really making me emotional talking about this, even though it's a story I'm sharing about someone else. So, as I said, for 5 more years, this continued on, and we, the siblings, were denied visitation with our mom. The legislation of the personal directive was used by Jamie to deny us access to our mother, and the legislation of the Powers of Attorney Act was used to deny us information concerning the estate, and as we later learned, really to commit theft with impunity. We became aware that Jamie's husband was also not employed. Shortly before Christmas, Mom passed away, and it was a very, very sad and heartbreaking time for all of us. In my mother's will, I had been appointed executor of the estate. It was not until well after Christmas that I obtained the documents concerning the estate, the bank accounts, etc. And in total disbelief, I found that the estate had been totally drained, and the bank accounts were totally empty. So nothing was left of the massive estate. So our family is torn apart. Some family members say It's only money. We should not bring charges against our sister Jamie. However, I, as the executive of the state, have taken documents to the police in order to have charges laid. And the police responded that it was a civil matter and they would not be involved, even though this involves massive theft. So I've recently learned that in a similar matter, though, that a lady from Montreal, in a situation where there was estate financial abuse, which had happened actually here in Alberta, is having success, though, in laying charges with the police. So it's an ongoing story. Thank you, and thank you to everybody for sharing.